Hello and welcome back to Out in the Wash, the podcast where we talk all things EastEnders, Coronation Street and Emmerdale. If you've had a week, if the soaps have stressed you out more than your actual life, or if you find yourself shouting, "Why would you do that?" at the telly, you're in the right place. So let's get into it, starting with EastEnders. Okay, so EastEnders. It's been a week, hasn't it? And I feel now, obviously we know that this year's anniversary isn't going to be as big as last year's, and we're in February, so there may be something that comes up within that week and we're just working our way towards it. So things are still a bit more settled down. We're looking for things that might come up within the flash forward. That someone said that, someone said this, what do they mean by it? We know we're going to see Mark pretty much all year, I guess. And I think that's quite something for EastEnders to do. Normally, we know that as actors, you're hired maybe for a couple of episodes, a few months. They've had to commit to bringing back Mark Jr. and it working for the rest of the year. Like, that's a lot. So he's obviously going to be quite central to a lot of things, because otherwise what would it matter? And yeah, really, I think after I've spoken about a few things, what's happened, maybe we'll look more at what Mark's role is within things, what effect he's having on the square, and things like that. So we'll jump in first with Vicky, Ross and Zach. And one thing that came to mind actually when Ross was handing out his flyers was Ross of all trades, but has Zach won? It doesn't work, does it? No, I tried. If someone's got better, please let me know. I know you've all got ideas. So Zach ends up, I don't know why is this bit first? We know what happened last week before the trial, that Vicky and Zach slept together. We'll reiterate it again. They're not brother and sister. It's a circumstantial thing. Like adoption, they're no more brother and sister than Dennis and Sharon were. Okay, let's just put that out there. Zach suddenly realizes that he's kind of on his own at the gym. I don't even know how he's doing the gym. He's doing the food at the pub. Like, this man's busy. How has he got time to be wining and dining and all this? So he realizes he needs Vicky's help at the gym, and while she's there throwing papers around, because I don't believe that Phil's not good at paperwork. This man's been running businesses for longer than Vicky's been alive. Like, okay, but there are papers everywhere. She's trying to sort things. Zach kind of throws them here, there and everywhere. And while they're getting close, is it going to happen again? They don't want it to, but they do want it to. Mark sees them. And sort of, he knows something's going on with Vicky, and now he's got his answers and his evidence. What's he going to do with it? And then Zach splits a fight up between Mark Jr. and Ross, because they're still at each other's throats over Vicky, how they got together and what it did to Spencer and Vicky. Like, he's still mad about that and all the Joel stuff. So obviously we're seeing traits of Grant in Mark. It's brought up a lot, saying, "Oh, you've got your dad's temper." And I mean, he's not a kid; it's a grown man. But then Vicky also talks about having a temper later on. I'm like, but where does yours come from? Like, her mother? Michelle could be if pushed, but yeah. I think it was to reiterate the fact that they're brother and sister. Oh, we've both got a temper, so we must be related. Like, fine, if that works for you, whatever. And then Mark, instead of sitting on this, what he knows, so he finds out that Ross is going to propose to Vicky. And instead of sitting on it, he just blurts it out to her. And then he tells her that he knows about her and Zach as well. Like, he doesn't tell her where he saw them, but he just knows. And he doesn't sit on that. And I find that really rare in soaps. Normally, when someone's seen something that's going on, they're just like, I will use that for leverage later. Now, not that he needs any... I can see Mark going across. I was surprised he's not living with Vicky, because there's not many people at Sharon's. Like, where is Sharon? And Ross, I suppose, moved back in and will be there. Maybe that's it. It's because of Ross. But, the way that Phil's household is all, full of people, where's Kojo? If anybody knows as well, side tangent, wrong answers only for where Kojo is. Email in outinthewash.pod@gmail.com. I'll do a video. Loads of people have done videos on this, but I might do a video saying, give me your wrong answers as to where Kojo is. Where is he? Anyway, so Mark's still at Phil's, but really he could live at Vicky's. And he drops this straight away that he knows. He just dropped, and I'm here for that. If that's what we're going to get for the next year, fine, great. Solve a lot of problems. We won't be dragging out storylines. He's just like, yeah, bam, done. This is this, fine. Ross does end up proposing to Vicky. And she's like, I love you. I can't lie to you anymore. I slept with someone else. And also, she dropped it pretty soon. Yep, bam. She doesn't say who, but she does tell him. But in a very roundabout way, because of it just leads to stuff with Sad Man's Club in the Vic. I mean, I don't know how Alfie and Kat made any money this week, because all Alfie seemed to do was give away drinks on the house, and he has done for the past few weeks. But then Elaine was no better. So there's that. It's just, I don't think soaps can take the handling of money. No one can work out change, even though they all pay by card. But they just can't do it. It's always, oh yes. So yes, but Vicky comes around and she ends up agreeing to marry Ross, and we know this is never going to happen. This is, well, the wedding might, I suppose, but it's not, there's no chemistry between these two. Not that there's a lot between her and Zach, in my opinion, which this whole podcast is, of course, but there's just, I wish they'd given Ross a name like he's had in his previous incarnations in other shows. Smithy, Fletch, Ross. That don't work. Needed something. So, yeah. And within that as well, finally the scriptwriters were reminded that Ravi and Zach have a relationship of sorts of friendship. Like, these guys were close. These guys were the two that probably would open up to each other, and suddenly they're sitting at other ends of the bar, and the scriptwriter's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they're friends. Let's do something here. Although Ravi's words of wisdom were rubbish. But then he didn't know the whole context. Zach doesn't know what's going on with him. Ravi's a mess. Zach's a mess. And it just didn't work. Zach ended up with some random women, but he couldn't go, he took her back to the flat, couldn't go through with it. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, we definitely know that Max is the one getting married in the flash forward. Yeah. Everything. How do I need to rewatch? I probably need to what? No. I was going to say, what if it's actually Vicky and Ross's wedding? But that feels a long time to leave it in soaps. I don't. It's just the fact that Ian is acting best man. And when I think about it, he could have been talking about Ross. No. Maybe a rewatch and see if that works. There's absolutely no way it does, but what if it did? What if it was a mad twist of fate that it was an absolute red herring? No, they definitely said it was Max getting married. That's okay. Why did that just pop into my head? So, talking of Ravi, well, he's still fighting his demons, fighting with the truth that it was him that attacked Nugget. And I get now that I talked, I think last week, about I couldn't understand why Priya was just like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm not having to lie to my kids. It's cool. But you are, love. Like, you really are. And it's because she knows that Ravi didn't mean to do it. So that's kind of overheard. Avani kind of gets that. Avani realises that something's going on and encourages her dad. She's like, when this happened to me, I spoke about it. So she's really the voice of reason here. She's like, I think you need to talk about it and get it off your chest and it'll be fine. And Nugget oversees this. He's kind of brushed off by Ravi because he hasn't seen much action from Ravi on a state of getting someone for who did this to him. He's like, you held Barney off a bridge and what am I getting? Like, fair. Absolutely fair, but we all know that. But then Ravi is beating himself up, so kind of he's hurting himself really. So you don't know that you're getting what you want, but not in the way that you want it. Be careful what you wish for, quite literally. And then Priya, because Priya is so oblivious to what's really going on with Ravi, she's like, I know what can solve everything. 4 wheels and an engine. Get him a car. What? In what world? In what world does getting Nugget a car? It's just, this is not going to end well, is it? I've got quite a few theories on this. Like, are we well? Give him Nugget a car. But while this is going on, Barney overhears that Nugget's attack was down to Harry and Nicola, which sends him into overdrive. And it really only gives half a story to run with, but he hears it, and I thought Barney was a bit brighter than this. He emotionally reacts, and off he goes to Harry and Nicola, going and tries to get the truth out of them. Like, they're gonna lie to you, Barn. They're always going to lie to you. So much better off with Zach, because these two will... I think Harry has the same... I mentioned this to someone else. I think Harry's got the same guilty look that Robert Sugden always has in Emmerdale. It's the same. Nothing's happening. Nothing's been hidden there. But Barney doesn't really pick up on this. I think there was a look between the two when they sort of tell him, oh no, it wasn't us. Not us, boss. But he knows that they're probably lying to him, and then he ends up spilling his guts out to Nugget and Avani about it. But they just assume that he means that Nugget was attacked by Nicola and Harry. So Nugget does his best Ravi impression and storms off to Harry's bar. Gain's entry, by the way. I know the wedding was going on, but just Gain's entry. There's no bouncers here. There's no... What? Just freely... These kids just freely walk around that bar. It's absolutely mad. But then I suppose Lexi was there with responsible adults, so that's different. But Nugget just being allowed to walk into Harry's bar was it is Harry's bar, isn't it? It's Harry's barn. Harry's. Anyway. And then Avani's like ringing Ravi to warn him that Nugget's gone off, and that they try to pull him away, but they all have a chat within the office in the bar. And I think maybe Cogs is definitely starting to wear in Nugget, but not quick enough. And then the guilty looks between Priya and Ravi are not helping as well. But I think Nicola absolutely knows what's going on here and knows what game she's playing or doing, that she now has this sort of leverage on Ravi. Please excuse me. I'm definitely woken up not well today. Yeah. So yeah, I have theories about the car. It's definitely a paid actor within all this. It's not going to go well, especially when it's that leads to the meeting of Ravi and Mark later. So, I might need a motor. So you've got Uncle Phil. If anyone's in the motor trade, it's him. And you're just asking random people on the... Okay, that's where we are, Mark. You're just asking random people on the street. Got you. Hey, you've got plenty of people within your own family who could get you a car, and there's Google, and this isn't any... I didn't think it was a flash car. It was just a kind of in-betweener kind of car. Not really. A bit bigger, but yeah. So yeah, I just think something will happen with the car. Same as it did for Kim. I might have to go back to the flash forward and see if it's still sat around the square. Okay, so Nigel is still living at the B&B with Julie. He's obviously aware of some sort that he's not at Phil's, but I don't think he fully understands what's happened to put him there, and they've not told him. And he's not mentioned Portugal anymore, the beach, nothing like that. He knows that's, Phil told him that's what was going to be the plan, but he's not really come up with it again. There was mention of a stone, but that was from previous with Julie. And Linda's doing her best to try and find out what's going on. She wants to help Nigel and Julie as their customers and friends of Phil's, and then Phil's her friend, and she knows that he's not always the best at dealing with these things, and he goes about it the wrong way. But she obviously doesn't know the full story, and Julie tells her that she's going to go. Her work colleagues are going out for the night, and Linda offers to look after Nigel for the evening. And I think Coronation Street doesn't do this as much, but definitely with Nigel, I think because his dementia is more advanced than perhaps Debbie's is in Coronation Street, that they definitely infantilise him. But then I think Linda infantilises a lot of people in that way. She does it with Phil. So yeah, they do basic. And when we never see them look after their own kids of an evening, it's a lot to then, oh yeah, we'll look after Nigel. So Ollie and Annie, who? Sorry, what? Okay, right, yep. This is why your kid getting bullied. This is why your kid's getting bullied. Because you're just not there. Apart from when stuff goes wrong and you finally remember, I got kids, yeah. Oh yeah, that one's dad. Anyway, I got off onto a tangent there. But before Julie's even left, Nigel's had a moment of confusion. He's not realised his own strength and ended up hurting Julie. This prompts Linda, because it makes complete sense, to push for the vow renewal happening the next. When she said, "I'll help you with the vow renewal," I was like, "Oh yeah, a couple of weeks, 10 days most. Tomorrow? What? Tomorrow? I thought maybe it'll be around Valentine's." Tomorrow, and you could just do that whilst you're running a B&B, looking after small children and doing God knows what else. Okay, you can just do it like that. Get the bar, and everyone was free. Everyone at that vow renewal was free that day. Gina, George, what? Lexi, why aren't you at school? Who else was there? Just it was nice to have it full and everything, but what? Okay. Like I say, in what world? Tomorrow she's got 2 kids plus the other guests. That WhatsApp's going to be absolutely banging off. How? Whilst this is going on, and this is the biggest thing I've been kicking off about all week, and no one, that needs a video. Why were the care home ringing Phil's landline? This is not 1996. Julie has a mobile. It works. I saw her on the phone to Linda. I didn't see her. It's not real, Jane. Oh my God. We see her on the phone to Julie. So her phone works. I don't know why this care home is, and why has Phil even got a landline? Because it was definitely the landline he threw down on the... Why aren't you ringing Julie? Everything's been done in sort of her name with Phil as a friend that's helping. But why are you ringing the landline? Just ring. That would have been solved so fast. That part of the plot made no sense to me because absolutely why? Even like on Wednesday, they were still ringing the landline. Someone, if you have any idea why, it was just a plot point, wasn't it? Like, yeah, that's mad. I did like Julie's dress. I believe someone found it. It's from John Lewis. Other shops are available. It was nice. Feel like they could have... When Nigel was in a full like penguin suit the other week, yet for his vow renewal, he's in typical Nigel 90s clothing. What? But then I suppose that makes him happy and more comfortable. Maybe that's it. But I just think Julie went all out. Nice makeup done. Looked great. But then she's there. She's like, "Oh, Nigel, you've got hours yet. Then why are you ready? You're confusing him. Like, I know you want to look nice and everything, but it would be less confusing if you weren't dolled up. What day was this on as well? Why is Julie not teaching? EastEnders, please, because I'm really struggling with you at the minute. Nothing makes sense." And then finally, Julie and Phil work out that Nigel needs to be back at Phil's, so he goes back to Phil's and he gets in the bath. And Mark's calling Phil down just to say, "Where do you want these back? Where do you think the bags go? How stupid are you?" And it was just a plot point to get them back down arguing while Nigel's in the bath. And I hate it. I hate it. Like, I know Phil that had to happen and we had to have Nigel have a near fatal thingy, but I'd have preferred it if the care home were ringing again on the landline than Phil and Mark having a ding dong downstairs. I have a friend that teaches, she'll never listen to this, so I'm going to mention her. I have a friend that teaches CPR, and I did almost ask her if she'd come and review Phil's CPR technique, but I suppose that wasn't what he needed to do. But I need to ask her actually, do you do CPR when someone's almost drowned? But he does manage to get Nigel out of the bath with Mark's help. He's banging on his back, water comes out, off he goes to hospital. But yeah, I did learn to do CPR, people. It's really important. Go have a look. I'll give her a plug. It's a local charity to us around here. It's Leon's Legacy. They put defibs in places within the community of where I live, further afield. They're getting bigger. Have a look. She's got videos on there about CPR and how to maybe do it. She does teaching, so if you need her, it's random. I just thought I'd give her a bit of a, like I say, I don't think, but it'll be good. This'll find out whether she actually does listen to it. So yeah, off Nigel goes to hospital, and the doctors are like, "We need to keep him in." She's like, "Can I take him home? Can I take him?" And I get she wants to have him at home where she can look after him and everything, but he needs to stay there. Like, he might have fluid on the lung. He just does. And I think they're almost thinking, he's not going home. We're going to find a care home for him because this isn't right. I feel like that's the stage. Phil finally tells her that the care home's been ringing. Again, she doesn't even question, like, "Why did it ring my mobile?" Like, doesn't even question it. Why, Julie? You should be like onto them going, why are you giving out details to random people that you kind of know but you don't know, and it's not the person that you need to... What? What happened with... So, bits moved along in the whole Jasmine storyline. She's still gone, done a runner. Patrick decides he's going to go see Zoe in the prison. I thought that was a nice scene between the two who didn't really interact, I guess, in the early days much. Had a good interaction. They share common ground now. Zoe was able to say that, Anthony wasn't all bad. Well, we know that because you absolutely changed his personality to bring him back. I hate it. Honestly. Like, they just did that. Why? Could have been any other person, but it had to be. I don't understand why it had to be Anthony. Like, it made no sense for his whole personality and the good doctor to just change. Why? Like, that's not what I want to ever really forgive. But anyway, so she's like, he wasn't all bad, as we know. but he did do this to me. This is why I'm here. But she's still telling him, like, I didn't do this. Like, this was not me. You know, it was a nice scene. And then she asked him about Jasmine at the end, and he's quite aloof about, oh yeah, she's all right. And I think Zoe then is like, what's going on? She calls Kat later, and she ends up telling her Jasmine's done a runner. But then Zoe drops the bombshell that Jake Moon has asked to visit Zoe in prison. And Kat's like, what? Thought he was dead. At the same time that Alfie's decided he needs to flit off to Oz to check on Spencer, like, who's heard about Vicky and Ross getting married and is not having a great... What? I'm glad they realised about visas and flight costs, and you can't, unless you're Sharon, you can't just go at the drop of a hat. Like, it just doesn't happen. FaceTime. Like, just keep checking in. Put him on FaceTime with the twins. That might drive him to do something actually quite bad. There are just other ways. Spencer's choice to be out there. Like, you should be offering to bring him over and tell them to their face, like, how bad things are. But yes, we're not getting Spencer back as far as I know, but we are getting Jake Moon back. Interesting. Still reckon I saw him on a plane. I swear it was a plane. And I just thought, I know your face. I think it's when we flew back from Portugal a couple of years ago, which is very EastEnders brand, that. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he's coming back. I'm sure you know who he is by now. If you don't, it's Alfie's second cousin. He had a brother called, oh God, the name's just gone. You can hear me typing now. Jake Moon, you can just hear it. Danny. Danny never looked like a Danny. That's what, yeah. Danny never looked like a Danny, ever. Yep, so he had a brother called Danny. Danny was the one that we believe who stabbed Dennis Rickman, Sharon's Dennis, father of Dennis Jr. Because, you know, what's a name not reused? So yeah, they were big when I was in my teens, maybe. That gives you an idea of how old I am. If you know me, you know how old I am, so don't be putting in the comments. So yeah, so he's coming back. Good. It'll be interesting to see how this fits in with the whole Chrissy thing. And Jasmine, is Jasmine with him? I don't know whether she would locate him. Would she know of him? So yeah, so hopefully this will move along more. Then we've got B. One thing I did do this week, I went back and watched Ronnie Ancona's impressions of her impression days when she was doing EastEnders, and she's done impressions of Peggy, Kat, and Little Mo. And little inflections came... Once I'd seen that, I suddenly realised that little inflections come back of her... I'd probably say her cat. Like, that comes in. Or maybe her, if you go watch her... And she is funny. She is funny. She's really good. It's just... I'm struggling to see B as a character more than I struggled to see John Richardson in Waterloo Road. Like, and I thought that was a joke for months, just as an absolute tangent. But B... She's creepy. She's super creepy. And it's nice to have the light and shade of creepiness, like new character. They're never up to any good, are they? But, you know, she's setting up for a first day at the Minute Mart, and she's setting out to impress Honey. And Vinny is just going back to being the Vinny that we all really get annoyed by. Like, we were doing fine with Vinny for a bit, and now we're back to it with Suki as well. Like... Once Suki gets that coat on, that beige coat, that camel coat, we're done. We're done. She's just in full like, I am Alan Sugar. That's it. You're fired. You're suspended. Whatever. But it does end up looking that both Vinny and Suki have made an enemy of B. And she's telling Honey, we're going to sue them. We're going to sue the Panasols because you've fallen off a ladder. They bully you. This isn't right. We're going to sue them. And... they get really drunk within the shop. It's all on CCTV, which actually hasn't been looked back at yet. I thought that might come to... If I was Suki, I'd be looking. And yeah, they get drunk in the shop, drunk in the bar, and they go back to the B&B, and Honey writes out this email and drunkenly press send, telling Suki everything that's wrong with her, everything that went on before when Suki tried to kiss her, and how it's not right, and she could sue her, and threaten all that. And yeah... it is a bit much, especially now we know there is a softer side to Suki, but there's also that hard business side, and she's not done herself many favours with that. Like, I think as soon as Eve isn't by her side, she's like, oh, go back to the old ways. When I used to lie about having cancer, you know, that's still her. She's still there. Let's not forget that she did things like that, and number of times she kicked the Slaters out. Oh, let you back in. Now you're going again. Like, the things she has done on that square. And yes, I think this is the first week in a while that's really hot back to that. And again, Vinny, the same way. So Honey ends up suspended from the Minute Mart. And at first, like, Honey and Billy aren't happy with this. She's like, I've got 2 kids. What? Have you? Because you seem to forget you've got 2 kids. And they're not exactly tiny babies, are they? Like, Will still at college. But yeah, then I guess they've got mouths to feed. But you'll be all right, honey. I'm sure you will be. Something. Surely you're getting money for Jan. Like, it's not the end of the world. But she does kind of come round, and they both, her and Billy, kind of end up offering an olive branch in the form of a glass of wine to B. And really, that's where we're at. That's what happened. So yeah. One thing, a side note, this week I did notice, it's still, I've used the word simmering, but it's, there's still interaction between Linda and Max. She's not out of the woods that she could be the bride, or she's obviously not the one in the bathroom. But yeah, there's still that option of things there, because as much as she's trying to sort out Phil and Nigel and Julie, like, Max says he says he'll help. And I'm like, wow, what? You should be just doing the whole thing, because what have you got on? Like, what does he do all day? Because he isn't sitting around reading. But yeah, I think that's about it. It's been a week, hasn't it? If you've got any thoughts, just drop me a line, drop me a comment, tell a friend, drop a follow. Yeah. On to Coronation Street. I know, I normally do Emmerdale, but I'm going to do Corrie, because then I can talk more about Emmerdale. So Theo's heading off to Doncaster to see his sick mother, and because of the whole thing about leaving, having joint bank accounts and cutting up Todd's cards last week, he's just left with £10 to just get through. And Theo says, I'll be back later. It's fine. He doesn't. He's not back later at all. So there's a lot of this week with Todd is sort of hiding this fact that Theo's cut up his cards and got a joint account, but he's got no access because, the heavenly Theo has gone to see his sick mother. Everyone's still preoccupied with the death of Billy, and Todd's just having to make his way through, sort of saying, I've left my wallet, which George does to him, and I think he must have got the money back later, so he's paying for that. And then we see him like just buying some cereal. There's nothing in the fridge when Summer checks it for breakfast, but so she goes and sorts it. And there's an altercation later in the week, and where Todd goes flying out the calf after Summer because she's found out what's happened to Debbie and kicks off. So she goes flying out, and as he comes out, he sort of crosses paths with David, almost knocks him over and Todd's got coffees in his hand, and that leads to a kind of argument between him and Sarah again about money. And he doesn't speak to her in the best way, and she realises later, he's got stuff going on after grieving Billy and things like that. But I think, hopefully, although I never can be sure with Sarah, the cogs are whirring. Like, things are starting to... As she wasn't there at the funeral, so she didn't really see that part. I think she was written out purposefully for that part, because later I think she'll be his biggest saviour, as well as David. There was a lot of crossover between him and David this week, and I wonder whether that's going to lead to something that David sort of realises what's going on a bit more, although he's at the hospital a lot. And it's not on David to sort Todd out, but I think the Platts hopefully will be the ending to this storyline. Hopefully. I know a lot of you have got in contact this week and said that you skip over these parts, you can't watch these, you're tired of it dragging on. Look, this storyline could not be done within a week. It wouldn't work. Then you'd be calling it ingenuine. It had to be a drip, drip, drip effect. We have the same with Yasmin and... Why do I want to say Graham? No, it's not Graham, is it? You tell me, because this brain of mine just goes blank as soon as I need to think of anything. Again, I say it every week, whose idea was it for me to have... It was just delusion that I should have a podcast. But it had to be a drip, drip effect. It had to be, guys. This is real. This can go on in people's lives for years. And I know you're not going to want to hear that. And I don't think Coronation Street are going to go that long with it. But this happens. So skip it. It's completely valid that if you find it triggering, skip it. Just skip it. Just zone out. Go make a cup of tea. Come back. That's absolutely valid. But it can't be rushed. It has to be over time. You'd be mad. Think about it. You'd be mad. You'd be so mad if it was... Oh, what was that? What? Where? So yeah, I feel I've skipped a lot there, but I didn't want to dwell on it too much because I know how much it's annoying some of you. So let's talk Debbie. Debbie tells Ryan at the beginning of the week that she's leaving him in charge of the Chariot Square if she goes to prison. And then she then organises, because this one's got loads of time, a sort of intervention for Kevin at the Chariot Square Hotel. So who have we got there? We've got Sally, Tim, Abby. Was Ryan there? No. Ronnie. Maybe Ryan was, but and that. So it's kind of an intervention where they all say, something's not right here. You're not okay. We've already seen that Jack's come down in the morning. The place has been a mess, and he's just kind of gone off to school, but he's not happy about it. But also, Jack, you live there, and you're not a small child anymore. Right? What? It wouldn't hurt, would it? And what are you doing? What are you doing to help? But maybe that's a Webster man thing, isn't it, really? There's no hope. So yeah, she puts together some sort of intervention. This goes down like a lead balloon, but he does come around to the idea with a little bit of emotional blackmail from Debbie. So he sort of kind of realises that, okay, yeah, all right, you've got my best interest at heart here, or two of you are my exes, but okay. Then Jack speaks up later and tells Kevin that for a few, he's going to go live with Abby, which breaks Kevin's heart. There's a text that we see later from Jack going, I still love you, and he just doesn't reply. He's just sat there and he's wallowing in his thoughts, he's ignoring messages. Whereas at the same time as this, Debbie's opening up to Carl that she'll forget who he is and everyone else while she's in prison. This again starts stuff within Carl, and he's like, I need to come clean about this. She plays a little bit of emotional. She knows she wasn't driving. She's seen her own bruises. No one else has. God, I don't know how she's keeping it from Ronnie. How is he not seen? It's absolutely mad to me. And again, I should probably do a video on this because I know a few of you are annoyed about the whole bruise thing. Listen, if you're not an EastEnders fan, we had this a couple of years ago with Janine and Linda. So we're already there with you. That this is the easiest way to tell, and no one cares. No one cares. We saw Debbie check her bruises that they were the way. She knows she wasn't. People saw her. People saw her get into the passenger, and she wasn't even the one that caused it. It was John Sugden who caused it, really, and Becky. So what? I don't know why Debbie's the one getting into trouble for it, because really, we could have just put all this on Becky and left her alone. But yeah, so it ends up with Kevin on top of the garage roof because that's been leaking. So he goes up to have a look. And once he's up there, I think the being up there and away from everything and everyone kind of shouting down at him just gets too. So yeah, he's up on the roof, getting a bit of clarity, throwing down cans at people as a brilliant piece. I think he just misses Brian because Brian's going on about his clutch and he needs it sorting. He's going to Ambleside. And Kevin's just not listening. Things are getting thrown down. It's quite nice in the parallels that we had as well between this is all kicking off on the roof and at the same time Debbie is finally telling Carl that she's his mother, which of course doesn't go down well at all because he's finally opens up about how Elaine, who brought him up as her son, didn't love him, was quite horrible to him, but Debbie's had no idea at this because at this point I think she's gone off and not really been aware of what's happened between Carl and Elaine. But then Elaine's dead, so she doesn't get to put her side of the story across, and I don't fully believe Carl either because the man is a pathological liar. So that's all going on. Abby finally manages to get up on the roof. I don't know why Sally couldn't because it really harked back to when Sally climbed the roof of the factory, which is just next door with did she have Shoni and Janice with her? Shanice, not Janice. Shoni. I can't do it. Joni and Shanice were with her when Mick was kicking off. I think she'd hid him in the factory for a bit. They climbed to the roof and then she'd managed to talk him down when he came to try and get Sally and the girls. So yeah, so that it harked back to that, and I thought these roofs are really easy to climb, aren't they? More health and safety needs to be done. Kevin's still got an unfixed roof, whatever. Him and Abby, they've not patched things up and got back together, but Abby sort of tries to help and talks to him like a normal human being. They shouldn't be. Abby should be just with no one. Sorry, Abby, but you do this all the time. And then you act like, I'm really sorry. What? You're just chaos. You're absolute chaos, and you always will be. And yes, you could blame that it's Seb's death and then Mason's death triggered it again, and you wanted out. You wanted to press that self-sabotage button and get the hell out of there. So yeah. So it was nice to see the parallels of that going on, and then Debbie telling Carl. What do we think? It was done so randomly for Debbie to tell Carl on a Wednesday night. And Coronation Street, I would not have been mad if you can't, because Carl at this point had decided that he was going to go and tell the truth, that he was driving the car and he was going to the police station. And then, of course, as soon as Debbie told him this, he's like, no, I'm not going to go now. Mate, you were never going to go. You'd have got distracted by something on the way or someone. It was never going to happen, was it? Your own selfishness would have stopped you. So he decides, yeah, I'm not going to go. And I'm mad at you. I'm not speaking to you. I don't care. I have no empathy for you. And obviously, I've lost my favourite theory that when Debbie told him this, she said it was a random person in the club. So that rules out my whole Terry Duckworth's dad theory, which I'm kind of gutted about because it made the whole Tyrone being knocked over storyline so much sweeter. It's a shame. It's an absolute shame. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Coronation Street, that's fine. Maybe you'll change your mind. These things have a way of coming out in the wash, funnily enough, that you'll just scrap that and come on to my way of thinking. Be nice, wouldn't it? So yeah, and Jack says that he'll move back in with Kevin and everything. But it's just nice to see those parallels and what happened. Debbie gets 2.5 years in prison. Would have been more, but her good character and the fact she pled guilty, even though she didn't do it, gets her 2.5 years, I think it was. And I swear, when they were all in the pub, because at that point they then find out that when Debbie's gone and she's been taken to the prison, she ends up having a TIA. She's confused. She's stressed. It's brought it all on. So she's back at Worthy General, I suppose. Unless I guess we're going to be quite lucky that the prison is nearby. Debbie's not going to be sent to a prison that's miles and miles away from everyone, but she is at the hospital. As she's in a roundabout way. I knew it was coming. I have friends and relatives who've been prison officers. I know they've done hospital trips, so I knew she'd be chained to a prison officer. And the camera pans around very slowly to see that this is what is happening, because they want us to show the realisation at the same time Debbie does. She comes around and everything hits her again. I'm chained to this person in a hospital bed. This is my life for the next 2.5 years. What's going to happen? I'm going to forget everyone. And I hope maybe this highlights dementia in prisons. Is that the angle that Coronation Street are going for here? Like, yeah, it'll be interesting. We've got the storyline of... Can you tell? You can tell in my voice how little I give to these. Thankfully, this was a Will and Megan low week. Was there much of Sam at the beginning? I don't know. Can't remember. Haven't written it down. Really, I'm skipping on that one. Shona's still trying to track down her and Jodie's dad, which Jodie doesn't seem too pleased about. And she's there, she's making cups of tea and she's cooking for David and Shona, but it means more. It means something else. What's she up to? What's she doing? I mean, it does look mad that I've just written down she cooks tea for David and Shona, but what is she really up to? Well, she's just cooking tea, Jade. But when you see it, you know that there's more to this. She's hiding stuff. Shona finds a contact of her dad's that she knows he used to drink with, but Jodie kind of intercepts that call. She rings ahead and says, this is what you need to say, do me a favour. And later in the week, she disappears. Tim takes her somewhere in a taxi. I thought Shona might ask, where are you taking her? But whether he'd tell her, I don't know. When she comes back, she's got this tin memory box thing, tin treasures. Now, of course, finding out that Terry Duckworth isn't Carl's dad also opens up the theory that maybe Carl has the same dad as Jodie and Shona. But the chances are low. But I just want to put that out there that, okay, you ripped that theory from me. So can I go with this? Can I have this one, please? That, yeah. We've had worse in Corrie. Come on. It could work. I went Googling for who I guess that Jodie and Shona's dad is going to come into it. And I went Googling, couldn't find anything. And then the pictures came out of who's going to play him. So I was like, oh, thanks. Literally couldn't find anything. Then he released it like half an hour later. So I was on the right path to finding out. It's a good casting, guys. It's good casting. Really is. So yeah, that'll be... I don't want to give too much away. We've got the Benny and Mal thing. She once again bumps into Mal from her jug fuel night. Of course she is. He's working at the same place she's working. She tries suggesting another electrician to Roy because she doesn't want him hanging around, and he fills her in on his side of things as to who Mal is. She doesn't fill Roy in on who he is to her, but Yeah, he's not come across Ryan yet, but then Ryan's been busy at the hotel, so that'll be interesting. Because Ryan's a grass. Yeah. Would you have told Gemma like he did last week? Because Ryan's a grass, mate. But again, towards the end of the week, Mal's helping in the calf like every person does now. Jodie, Mal, anybody else, just rock up. You don't need food hygiene certificates anymore. Just do a shift in the calf. It's like Uber drivers. No, it's not. It's not like Uber drivers at all. It's like Duke of Edinburgh. Just come and do a shift in the calf. Yeah. I suppose I get it. I don't know where Roy disappeared to again. Had to go get a tooth seen to. Burley's on her own. She's struggling because Burley's just not there at the minute. But yeah. Right. Where does that leave us? I told you, the problem is that we lost an hour of both Coronation Street and Emmerdale this week. So it was always going to be an EastEnders heavy episode because I had more to go on. I've done a video and spoke about the fact that ITV put together this whole power hour of soap together, and it really does work because it means I can watch EastEnders, Emmerdale and Corrie all in one go of an evening. Great. Until the football and the rugby turn up. Like, I'm a sporty girl, but the timing was off. Are we getting that back? Because you could have done like loads on Friday. You could have given us the Emmerdale back. You could have given us the Corrie back. And I think that's maybe why Wednesday felt a bit like, oh, this is all happening on a Wednesday. Because it wasn't meant to, ever. So yeah, that's Corrie done for the week. I'm trying not to make this too long a podcast again because we had it down to a nice 40 minutes. Then we went to a 1 hour 17. And then last week, I apologise, I did phone it in really. And that showed up in figures. So that's on me. But I wasn't as prepped. I am prepped this week. So Emmerdale, our last one to talk about. Moira's informed that at the beginning of the week there are 2 dead bodies on her land. So she's arrested along with Cain in front of the kids and everyone at that point. I've never seen that farm so full of workers because Matty's there, Vic's there, Robert's coming in later. I don't know where the others are, but it felt like, oh yeah, this is actually a working farm. Matty and Vic are asked to give statements as well. They're trying to like look after the kids, but quite rightly, Matty's pleading that they've got it wrong and to think of the boys. And this lad has been through it. He's got no Amy to lean on. Although I do think if Amy was there, it would have made things. She'd have kicked off. The boys would have been living with them. It wouldn't have got. So I'm kind of R.I.P. Amy, but yeah, she wouldn't have helped matters. So they get interviewed. Cain and Moira get interviewed, but DS Walsh, she ain't listening. Because she knows it all adds up to Moira being connected to the bodies. And I do feel like this week, the wool pack then became a sort of base for waifs and the straggling dingles. And it should be. That's what the pub's about, that it is that base. I think for a few months, the cafes felt like that. But the wool pack really stepped up this week and kind of became that place for them to go. As a side note, Moira's shown the blanket that Anya was wrapped in, which of course we knew was going to be the one that she threw out to the charity shop. Take your own stuff to the charity shop in future, guys. Don't let Celia do it. Just saying. So it's one that Celia offered to take, and of course that sounds ridiculous. Oh yeah, Celia, she offered to take the blanket to the charity shop. What? Why? Just do it yourself next time, Moira, and learn from your mistakes. And of course, someone said to me this week they weren't expecting the second body to be Celia's, but of course it was. Why? Who? I want to know where the rest of them have gone from the farm. Where's Simo or whatever his name was, and the ones that were not so nice to bear? Where they gone? Where are their bodies? Where are they? So it'd be interesting to see if they come back at any point. Cain is of course released without charge, but Moira is charged with the murder of Celia and Anya because it's never occurred to anyone that it could have been Ray that killed his mum. And they should have done a better job with Laurel. I thought she was really going to be the main suspect in this. And she knew that Ray had been banging on the door saying, I've sorted it. That to me screams, I've killed my mother. Like, what? So maybe they need to look at Laurel again because she's got the information. And of course, this is all led from Caleb and Ruby. Ruby not being able to keep her nose out, which is fine because I'm here for that. Someone needs to. Like, the thing with Ruby is that she's only a sort of dingle, half dingle at that, and not really a dingle at all by marriage. She's within them, but she's not. So she's like, and her empathy exudes everything for that. She's like, I need to find what happened to Anya. So all of this digging that they essentially did has led to Cain and Moira being arrested. That's not going to go down well. So what did they do? They sat in the pub all week. Great. you've also got guilty faces. Like, Bear's still, of course, he's traumatised. He's struggling to settle back in at Paddy's. You know, he's asking things like, is it okay to get a drink? And they decided they're not going to tell him about Anya yet, even though they decided they're not going to tell him about Anya, but he's fully aware she's dead. Absolutely. He buried her. So, you know, Paddy, you're not giving this man room to open up. I know you're trying to keep him from speaking the truth about killing Ray, but you're just not allowing him to open up, and really you're trapping him as much as Ray did. So, but again, Ruby does sort of plough her way in and tells him that they found Anya's grave, and he opens up to her about what happened to her and how Ray not helping Anya led to her death in a roundabout way, but he does say a little bit too much. I can't remember what he says, but he just says a little bit too much because he doesn't know what he's saying and what he can say and who he can say it to. Just gonna have some more notes later on. So where are we with Bear? It's not great with Bear. He's definitely truly traumatized, and I don't think Paddy is doing enough to get him the help that he needs because he doesn't want him to give away the truth. But look at him, Paddy. Even if he said it, mind you, even if he said it, I still think there's a case for self-defense to be talked about here. Not that DS Walsh would listen, because, you know, she's not doing a great deal right now. Although I thought actually when DS Walsh came to interview Bear later, she was much kinder to him than she's been to others. But I still feel this needs a specialist kind of police officer to deal with it. Like, there's a lot going on here. We need more. We need to. It was great of Emmerdale to bring up human trafficking and things like that, but do better on the way out of the storyline. Do better, because I'm sure these things need to be talked about more, and the effect that it has on people. Maybe we don't, but we do know there are people out there. So I just feel this is something you could do a little bit better, and I hope you do. And I never thought I'd say this, but we need Mandy back. And the reason we need Mandy back is because she could have cleaned him up. She would have given him a safe space to talk in the salon, somewhere away from the house, somewhere calm, somewhere, you know, warm, cozy. Get that beard trimmed up, get him feeling more himself. I'm not going to say it's going to take away all the trauma, but I feel Mandy might be the key. There's no way they're going to tell her when she comes back. They're going to lie to her for God knows how long. And I think it'll be left to Dylan to tell her. Once again, we're putting all of the truth on Dylan. This kid has been through enough. Paddy, you need to step up. You need to tell people what's going on. Like, these are your family. You go on about it, but both just, please, talk. You need to talk to someone as well. Like, whether that's Marlon. I'm going on like the real guys, but I'm just pushing that theory. Yeah, so I can't wait for Mandy to come back. She's definitely needed. I am so sorry about my cold today. I'm not. Side note on this, I'm also amazed that a Walkman still works. Please allow that man to go to bed as well. Sitting there on a sofa that doesn't even recline doesn't seem the most comfortable. Man, he just needs to sleep, lie down, maybe with a bit of Spotify on. Why are we shoving a Walkman in his ears? What is he listening to? Okay, so I did do a video on this earlier in the week. I just wonder what the next steps are for Graham, because early on it just felt like it was going nowhere. But him and Kim were just winding each other up within Home Farm, and I was like, if this is it for the next few weeks, guys, this is not what I expected with the return of Graham. But it did get better. I've also now realised someone said he talks like Batman, and in my mind specifically Lego Batman, but I also thought that he talks like Roger Moore in the Spice World movie. And if you don't know what that is, we can't be friends. Yeah, like this. I forgot how one-toned it is with him. Like, God love him, brilliant, but wow. So they're winding each other up. At the end of the week, with Graham, there was a comment about Graham not wearing his suit. Joe said he only does that when he's working for me. I'm thinking, yeah, those were not the good times. So, but the suit's back out. Somehow, this again is really winding me up. The suit appeared when Graham walked through the door of Home Farm in the suit. God knows where he got it from. Like, it was just his Mr. Ben moment. That's what it is, isn't it? He just walks in his suit like Mr. Ben, and then he grabbed his coat and he's gone again. Like, well, surely, what? Why? Who? What was the coat for? Why? It was just for the plot. It's just for that scene. It could have come from upstairs. I don't know why it wasn't from upstairs. Like, so These are the things that I hold on to. It's mad. But yes, he's before the suit arrived, he was kind of shown out to the big wide world, because at this point, the only people he's come across are, let me think, Joe, Kim, Dawn, the kids, Rona, Marlon, Ray. I think that's it. So the wider world are not aware. Leo, not April. They never really came across him. Someone wants to correct me on that, I'm fine. So he needs to be shown off to the wide world. More people are going to find out. And they chose the Woolpack. Me, I'd have gone for the calf, because Nicola would have passed out. So even when Gabby saw him, she dropped a bag with a tea set in, which felt real. I've talked about how Rona reacted to seeing Graham as she touched his face. Joe saw him, he threw up, I thought that was quite real. Gabby dropped a bag. I mean, there was a bit of a delay on it, but yeah. She drops her bag from Portugal that she'll come back with, that's got this tea set inside that we see her, Dawn and Kim kind of putting back together later. And I would have thought they would have tried, I always get this name wrong, kintsugi, where you glue it back together with gold. Thought Kim would have had that lying around. But anyway, I digress again. So Graham is paraded out into the Woolpack, and there we have Eric, Billy, who found him. We've not been able to forget that this week. Billy and Priya found you. Priya and Billy found you. So Billy's there. Who was next to him? Eric, Billy, Ryan, Sam. I feel like there was someone else stood there. Charity and Bob anyway. And that's good, because we know that Graham put Ryan in a shed. Billy was the one that found him, and Eric is Eric. I mean, it felt a bit mean to do to Eric. Man's not getting any younger. Like, Charity's very pregnant. I really thought labour was going to kick off there and then when she saw him. So yeah, they're not happy. Things are brought up again. We're also reintroduced to the idea that when Caleb was plotting his downfall of Kim Tate's empire, he came across a drunk Graham. We don't know where. I can't remember where. But they have met in a sort of previous life. Will they interact again? Yes, I think so. Could Graham be a potential, you know what Ruby's like? Will there be anything that... absolutely, come on. She is the Cindy Beale of Emmerdale. And that's an absolute compliment, by the way. But yeah, I definitely think there could be sparks flying. Rona's, showing she's not interested. She's like, yeah, I know about this. I didn't want to tell you. I thought he was going, yeah, get me a pint. But you better stick to that, Rona. You better stick to that, because we're not going to be happy otherwise, are we? Like... And even at the end, Charity's like warning Graham, saying, you better not wreck things, which is fair. I mean, Charity's also been a pathological liar for the last few months, but I feel this was true honesty. Like, why are you getting into bed with the Tates, so to speak? It's never going to end well, is it? Which is absolutely fair and honest, and we all know that to be true. So really, at that point, Charity's just speaking on our behalf. And I do like it when characters do that, and they realise, and they're like, I'm going to warn you, I don't think it will help, but... yeah, she's absolutely right. It was an interesting week. Okay, so that's everything. You know what I need to talk about. So Moira's in prison. She's been charged. Yep. And Wednesday, Emmerdale really not dropped. They aired an episode from the point of view of Cain. They followed the same techniques that we saw in Coronation Street with David and Shona, where it was kind of an inner monologue. But it was just Cain's. It wasn't anyone else's point of view over two parts. It was just Cain's. Biggest takeaway I got from this was that if you were one of the supporting actors within this episode, I'm sorry you can't use your clips on your show reel. I'm sorry, because you were blurred out. Everyone apart from Cain spent a lot of their time out of focus. It wasn't really until the end. We'll get to that bit. So... Cain's off to get his diagnosis from when they found the mass after the crash, and it turns out he's got prostate cancer. And this again comes from when Liam was trying to encourage people to get checked. Cain had been checked for the BRCA gene, and Cain didn't go. He helped Liam get people to go, but himself he didn't go because he was too much. I'm going to say coward. Yeah, we're going to drop that. Fine. Yep, I'm using it. So he doesn't go, but obviously the crash led to scans, and this mass is prostate cancer, which doesn't sound like it is too bad. Can be treated. It will need an operation, and then we'll go from there. So it was just him dealing with it. So his interaction with a guy in the oncology clinic, waiting to be seen. And again, that guy got off lucky, because if it had been Cain, I think about 10-15 years ago, he'd have been getting a punch. Like, he just would have done. So that's on the character arc that this man has had. Who else is he interacting with? Liam, but he doesn't tell him. And yeah, so he finds out, goes off on a bit of a rampage. Everyone gets short shrift with him. And he ends up at Zach's grave, where Sarah finds him because he's spoken to her like absolute pope twice. Even telling her at one point, stop using the name Grumpy, what are you, 5? Fair. I think we've been wanting that for a while. She's another one that gets infantilized like all the time. I get it, but yeah. So he comes clean to her and says, I've got cancer. And it's just lovely. You can just see his shoulders down. Everything, it just rushes out. And of all the people to tell, do I feel it was fair? I've been saying fair a lot. Do I feel it was kind to tell Sarah? Now, Cain has no idea what's going on with Sarah and the baby and all the lies around that. Like, he knows that Charity's having what he thinks is her baby, but we've got all that to come. So do I feel it was fair that Sarah was the one that found out about the cancer when everything's about to go down with her anyway? Interesting. What do you think? It was a lovely episode. I do feel like Emmerdale saw all the stuff that EastEnders did with Steve McFadden this time last year, and went, you know what? Emmerdale went, you know what? Hold my beer. Hold our beer. We got this. We've got our own Steve McFadden. And I probably would say that the three across the soaps, no, I'm not going to, no, it's silly. Maybe another time. But yes, they went, we've got our own Steve McFadden. We've got this. We'll drop this. Look at this. And they smashed it. The colouring of the episode, the camera techniques. Okay, you're not getting showreels, but sorry. But the techniques that, although Cain was present, he wasn't really focusing on what was around him, and it was just boom. But he doesn't. Also, he does. Side note: he doesn't tell Moira the full extent of his cancer, and at the end of the week, all we've got is that Moira knows he has cancer, but he's telling her it's absolutely fine. He's going to be okay. Won't need any treatment. It's all right. But Sarah and Liam end up finding out. So he tells Sarah, and he does. I think the second time, it's just much easier for him to go, I've got cancer. You know what? I've said it yesterday. I'm going to say it today. Okay, this is getting easier, but still not easy for me to tell everyone else. So yeah, the two people that know, that's fine. But yes, great direction, great writing, great camera techniques. We knew what was going on. We could see it. Just emotional. And I can't imagine because you think this was being scripted and filmed and done near to where Corriedale was being done in terms of time. This is a lot. That is a lot. And for Emmerdale to have all this going on and still focus on this, you've smashed it. You've done it. Think about it in that terms. And when people sit there in my comments going, I've not watched in years, I think it's rubbish. Thanks for taking the time to give me engagement and comment, but you could have scrolled on. Watch this. Come back. Have a look. I know you're probably not going to listen to the podcast if you're not watching soaps at the minute, but again, I might do a video on that too. Go and watch last Wednesday. Do I feel it should have been shoved away on a Wednesday? Don't know what's wrong with shoving it on a Wednesday. I've no idea for that, but I don't know. But it worked. We were all thrilled. But yes, I would have given it the full old Thursday hour long, but we don't get that anymore. That's where it should have been. Yeah, that's where it should have been. Anyway, well done, Emmerdale. I hope that gets awards. I really hope this isn't going to be an exit storyline for Jeff Hordley. That would be sad. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say on it, really. Who are my characters of the week? I definitely feel for EastEnders once I'm going to say Barney in EastEnders, I think, for this week. I think he knew that something bad was going on and he tried to get it sorted as soon as possible. And yeah, Barney. I'm just going to do Barney because he's just trying to fix everything. He's not doing it in the right way, but he is trying to fix everything. Who is my Coronation Street one? Do you know, I'm going to do Kevin Webster because Michael Lavelle probably doesn't get the kudos that he deserves when he plays storylines like this. Yeah, I'm going to go Kevin because everything has not gone great for him and he's just trying to do the best. He's struggling. He does need to open up. This feels a very true storyline. It probably happens all the time. All right, people don't climb roofs, but yeah, that's probably my top one in Corrie this week. Maybe that says a lot about what's going on in Corrie. My Emmerdale one, you know, it's going to be Cain. Character of the week is Cain. I can't say much more on Wednesday night's episode and everything that's happened since. There it is. Stop hammer time. Right, that's all from me this week. Thank you for listening. Please do like, follow, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to drop us a review. Have a look at the Facebook page, the Instagram page, TikTok, wherever you consume your content. And you can always email me. Thank you for all your feedback from the last week at outinthewash.pod@gmail.com. It'd be great to hear from you. Please tell a friend. Give us a share, like I say, like, follow, subscribe. We're also on YouTube as well. And I look forward to speaking to you over the week. This has been Out in the Wash. My name's Jane. Thank you for listening.